The biggest challenge is in delivering this successful system as a blue and green system is not a technical, it's a mindset shift challenge. Previously, the city was planning or constructing the parks and trees at the end of this project. Like it's nice to have it as a feature, but now with the extreme heat and the weather change and the flooding, we need to put them at first and in the planning from the beginning. So we should treat them as the basic infrastructure. So this is will come like we are in Dubai Municipality having like a framework, which is a 4I framework, starting with intent to recognize the blue and green system as a main infrastructure and embedded them in earlier planning process in our manuals and also in the frameworks and the guidelines, and also to create a shared vision between the planners, the developers, and the designer. So that it will become at the beginning and the strategic level, and then to integrate them in our city in the planning, and to use them not only as a feature as a park, or also to use them to connect neighborhood communities, and also to connect also the street and transport and the public space and the drainage and water. In Dubai 2040, we have like the master plan of the Dubai 2040 that have the green and blue system corridors, which link the sea for the urban area and down to the desert landscape, and to provide more shade, more cooling, and support walking and cycling, and managing also the storm water. And then we can move to have this design successful. We need to also have innovate, which is the 3I, to innovate, to use better design, to deliver an excellent design, not just a normal design for these open spaces and public beaches, and also to use AI and technology to make sure that we are managing and optimizing the comfort and the human comfort, also using the data-driven to inform and adjust the performance. The fourth I is to implement, to build them alongside our street and utilities and infrastructure, and also to use them as to guide our development, and using them as a basing. That's if we have like a density development and high density project, we need to have these kind of open spaces at the priority to serve these people for these communities. And we are in this process, we are keep asking ourselves, is this shaded, is open space are shaded and walkable? If this outdoor temperature is reduced, is the people is using these open space more time than before? So this question we are keeping asking ourselves to enhance the performance and keep monitoring. So this is our fourth KPI. So if we plan early, integrated with the city structure, and innovated and use innovative design, we will and delivered with the performance, we will guarantee that we will have in the city like a resilience and response city to the a design that responds to the city need and people-centric.
Thank you very much for that. There will be a follow-up, but I want to pass the mic now to Engineer Ibrahim Jumaa. I want you to think of Dubai's beaches and water canals. Now, how do they function as active urban infrastructure? In other words, contributing to climate resilience, cooling, and public well-being.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul Bari. When we talk about beaches, usually people believe beach is just an amenity or open sandy space. But in fact, the beaches are considered the first soft coastal protection for the city. I mean by this, it dissipates the wave energy, it provides a buffer against the seasonal storm events, and at the same time, it reduces the exposure of the land side infrastructure. So they act as a comprehensive engineered system. Now, when it comes, on the other hand, the waterways or the waterfront in general, studies shows that the waterfronts reduce the heat stress by lowering the ambient air temperature by around 1.5 degrees. So if the beaches are well designed considering the shading strategies, material selections, soft landscape. Confidently, I can say these beaches are considered the outdoor living rooms for the city, where the people, they can enjoy them all around the year. Now, coming back to the how do we see the beaches? I believe the beaches is not just a coastal protection, it's a comprehensive, multifunctional urban infrastructures. Our design of the beaches taking in consideration to enable recreation, sport, social, arts, and so on. So they are directly support well-being, physical and mental well-being, and contributing to the city's quality of life.
Thank you very much for a very thorough answer. Ladies and gentlemen, the other section, it's a half-half. The other section of this panel are enablers, because behind every thriving urban landscape lies a sophisticated network of enabling systems. So I want to take this first with Engineer Fahad, and my question to him is, how do recycled water systems support the bi-circular economy approach? In other words, enabling blue and green networks to operate efficiently through water waste and irrigation and urban cooling?
Yeah. One of the things that we need to understand and focus that in the city of Dubai, we have moved. Building a strong and sustainable infrastructure is very important for the city of Dubai. We have moved from building gray infrastructure to making our infrastructure more green and blue. By that, what do I mean? I mean, today we have 3 networks. We have a network for collecting the sewer water that is a result from people domestic use of potable water that goes to their house. Usually many cities that after they treat this water, they discharge them to the rivers or the open sea. For us in Dubai, we collect every drop of raw water, sewage water that goes into the system, and then start to treat this water to meet the demand that we need, as you said, as an enabler for the city urban planning, for the city growth in terms of achieving its objective of greenery, even not only in greenery, even to make it more, the industry part of Dubai, to make it more green and blue. So we collect every drop of sewage water, treat it, and then establish an expandable recycled water network. And we use every drop of water for landscape. So every landscape area you see in Dubai is being used through recycled water, not through potable water or desal water. Not only that, today we entered the field of cooling. So district cooling has a lot of impact on generating heat and consumption of power, etc., etc. So one of the sources of district cooling is to be cooled through using water. And what we do, we use the recycled water to support the district cooling industry, in order that every district cooling plant today in Dubai to be supported by recycled water network. And by doing that, we will enable the city to achieve its objective in terms of greenery, in terms of minimizing the cost of operating and the resource that we have. Today, we live in an area that considered water to be a scarcity of item here. We don't have a lot of waters, so we have to reserve our water and find way and solution in order to utilize every drop of water that we produce or we have in the city, if that was going to be a desal water or groundwater. The third thing that we do in Dubai Municipality is that we integrate the recycled water network and the sewer water network with the storm water. As you heard that we launched Tasrif program. Part of the objective of Tasrif program is that to enable for green and blue infrastructure through minimizing the impact of rain event on the city. So whenever we have a peak rain event, we don't collect it only in a gray system as a pipe network and discharge it to the sea. No, we try to coordinate with the public parks department, with the beach department, with urban planning, to create zones where when the first flush of rain comes, first goes to the greenery, and then we try to collect them in lagoons. And we have in Dubai around 17 ponds where we collect the rainwater and utilize them to support the need for irrigation and recreation of those facilities.
There's not a single plot hole over there. Nothing is wasted.
No, we try to achieve every water. And Our next step, that, as you know, in networks, because they are pressure system, you have losses of water that goes to the ground as a losses. And we try to achieve the most efficient network in the world. Today that we talk about efficiency of our network is of losses around 5 to 6%. If you see Advanced City and all, they claim that they are achieved 4%. Our target is to reach around 3.5% of water loss. Even though that when we talk about loss of water, actually we use our water for irrigation, so it's not lost. So we recharge the groundwater basin once there is a leakage in our system. But in order to make our system more efficient in terms of operation, we try to collect it and operate and use it in a most efficient way.
Very mind-opening. I want to welcome and take this forward with Engineer Mohammed. How do Dubai's integrated waste management and recycling systems act as key enablers of blue and green cities? And I mean by reducing environmental impact and improving resource efficiency.
Well, thank you, Yusuf, very much. I think, first of all, let me say that what you mentioned today, that this sector is called the invisible sector, the sector that nobody knows what's happening behind those curtains. I mean, today in World Government Summit, we talk about how cities will grow, what are the challenges that each city is facing regarding resiliency, regarding saving the environment, regarding sustainability, and most important thing for us in Dubai Municipality, city growth in population. So when we have a population growth, this will require an extra work when it comes to infrastructure and making sure that you have the proper strategies in place to make sure that you have clean beaches, clean blue system, and you have also clean green areas with open spaces for people to enjoy when they go there. His Excellency mentioned that the function of these parks is for people to come and visit, and I definitely think that nobody wants to visit a place where it's not clean. And in Dubai, we are really happy that for 7 consecutive years, Dubai was named the cleanest city in the world. And this is something that we are really proud of, because this is the job of Dubai Municipality that we are taking care of. Coming back to the enablers, we have in Dubai an integrated waste strategy, 2041, which takes into consideration the population growth, the needs, the green spaces, the construction and development, and the new construction activities even happening in the city is also taken into consideration. So the strategy basically shifts the mentality and the way that previously we were doing the treatment of just collecting the waste, sending it to the landfill. This was not an environmentally friendly practice that we were proud of, but now we have changed the mentality. Now the aim is to reach to 0 of our waste going to landfill through proper treatment. The objective is to have today waste-to-energy facilities plus recycling facilities to maximize how much we can collect and reuse our waste.
Thank you very much for that addition. I want to bring this back to Engineer Sanaa, and let's take this from a quality of life perspective. What planning indicators truly define success when you measure the impact of blue and green cities on everyday urban living?
It should be focused on the people experience, not only the performance of the green space as an area. So we tackle different KPIs that tackle the thermal comfort, like the length of shaded pedestrian routes, the urban heat island mitigation, how to increase the area of outdoor space. And there is another pillar also. We have to also monitor the mobility and the active mobility, how people walk to these open spaces, if we are reducing the journey as a 5 minutes to an open space or a 20 minutes to reach the essential services. And then if we talk about the health and well-being, maybe with the percentage of the providing of the inclusive spaces for all ages, that how to have these open spaces considering different group of ages. And this is it's matter also in the quality of life. Also the usage of different time in day, how people use this open space and go. And then when we come to the environment, what is of the species that we are planting in these open spaces, how to consider our climate, our weather, to use whatever suitable for these open spaces, the shaded increase, the tree canopy, the per capita per green space. And for the agility also, we need to design these open spaces, and we have to monitor if this design will help to reduction in flooding by using sustainable drainage design in these open spaces, and also with a storm water and drainage network. So these kind of KPIs that make by monitoring them and learning from whatever happening as implementation from our mistakes to always keep enhancing and monitoring our experience in this open blue and green space.
Interesting definition. Thank you for that, Engineer Sanaa. Taking this to Engineer Ibrahim, if we look ahead, what are the design and operational strategies that are critical to ensure that blue infrastructure remains resilient and environmentally sustainable in a desert coastal city?
See, it's important to mention that the Dubai coastline over the last 2 decades has dramatically transformed. Let me give some figures here. 13% of our coastal water reclaimed within 10 nautical miles only. The total length of the breakwaters and revetment structures that protect essential and critical infrastructure increased by 1,300%, from 227 kilometers to 385 kilometers at the present. This scale and magnitude of change, it shows how important and essential we take care to be considered in the design of our blue infrastructure to be long-term resilience. In this context, let me share with you our strategy for the coastal strategy. It focuses on 4 pillars, basically. The first pillar, implementing risk-based shoreline framework in order to guide monitoring, mitigations, and beach replenishment. The second pillar, prioritizing the hydrodynamic first design in order to ensure that the canals or inland waterways flush efficiently and maintain water quality. And the third important pillar, adopting conservative freeboards and coastal setbacks in order to avoid any future conflict between the shoreline mechanism and, in the same time, the fixed assets. And here we have to take in consideration as well IPCC recommendations for sea level rise projections. And the fourth pillar, scaling natural-based solutions. And the best example here when we talk about mangroves. Currently, we are working on a project to develop Ras Al Khor Wildlife Sanctuary, where we are increasing the area of mangrove by 60%, adding 25 hectares of mangrove to act as a shoreline stabilizer. So to conclude, I believe all of these engineering, ecological, and governance measures will enable us to ensure our blue infrastructure projects remain resilient, performing well, and in the same time, environmentally sustainable.
Thank you very much for that. Now, we have a little bit of time left. If we can keep the answers to less than a minute each. To Engineer Fahad, we have to ask for the enablers to give us a look ahead. How will recycled water and sewerage projects continue to evolve to support the future performance of scalability of blue and green cities in Dubai?
Yeah, in short now, with the urbanization of the city, we know that there is a pressure that comes on the infrastructure to maintain the growth that's happening in the city. And we know that the infrastructure that we build today has to be agile enough to cater for any growth or urban change that happen in the city to cater the city objectives. Today, we are trying to get involved in the early stage with our planning department in order to build the infrastructure system of the either it was for stormwater management or to achieve the greenery and provide them with a recycled water and sewer collection system. With the growth of the city, we know that the population of the Emirates needs to be doubled, and our objective is that to make sure that the infrastructure that we have can cater for that growth and support the objectives and the goals that we have under the urban planning.
Sounds like a plan. And finally, Engineer Mohammed, in the future, how will waste to resource strategies further strengthen blue and green systems to contribute to Dubai's long-term urban resilience?
I think most important thing is for us in the optimizing and increasing the efficiency of our waste is to focus on what we are going to treat this waste for. For example, when we talk about green waste, today the intention is to create compost out of that waste that waste that can be used reback again in our system. When we talk about organic waste, we talk about creating energy out of that waste and creating sustainable aviation fuel even out of that waste. When we talk about e-waste, when we talk about recyclables, making sure that we can reuse these materials again one more time in our ecosystem. This is the intention, to maximize our resource efficiency recovery coming from the waste, and to make today the waste that was a threat for any city, an opportunity and a resource that we can depend on. So in conclusion, what we want to say is that we don't want Dubai today just to do a good job when it comes to waste management. However, we want Dubai today to have a system where it can actually transfer its waste into resources and even create a second life for that waste.
Ladies and gentlemen, compile all of that into a thesis and you get yourself a PhD. Can we have a round of applause to our speakers?